I remember the BLM stuff because I started asking myself questions. I'm like, okay, is there racism everywhere? And I like really thought about it. And I remember the Black Square Day, and I remember not putting a black square up. And I remember thinking, okay, I want to have conversations on the show. I mean, we were kind of knee deep in COVID, but I was going to have on some guests that I had in the past that were black to talk about this. I had Ice-T back on in 20, and I was one of my big favorites. And I was going to have him back on, and then I was going to have some black friends in London on. Yeah. And then I think I just decided not to. And I was going to post some videos about my feelings on it, and then I just decided not to. It felt like such an emotionally charged issue that I didn't know if I was going to get anywhere with it.
Do you know one of the weirdest things about it, Brian?
What?
Is the fact that people even viewed it and continue to view it through the racial frame. To this day, as far as I know, even in the court, even in the trial itself, there was never any charge made about racism or evidence of racism. It just happened that the police officer was white and the man who was killed was black. Could race have been a factor? Sure, but we don't know that it was. So it's also fascinating that all of this happened after an incident where we don't even know. To this day, we don't even know, it's not even clear, there has been no evidence that race was a motivating factor. Of course, depending on people's worldview, there'll be some people of, oh, come on, Zuby, of course that wouldn't have happened if it was a white guy, but it's like, wait, that has happened to white people before. There's a man named Tony Timpa who was killed in a pretty similar way, white man, killed by white police officers in America, not so long before the George Floyd situation. There have been, guys like Daniel Shaver, one of the worst police shootings that I've ever seen. That was a white man shot by white police officers. That obviously wasn't racial. More white people are killed every single year by police than black people in America. Disproportionate per capita, but it's still more people, but people don't know those names. So it's kind of interesting how even when that conversation happens, it's framed from the context of race and black and white rather than around police conduct and perhaps police brutality and training, or even agents of the state versus citizens. It's framed very specifically and intentionally through a racial narrative, because then it forces people to think that way, right? So now white people across the entire Western world are like, wait, am I racist? Am I somehow complicit in this incident that just happened? What do I need to do? How do I need to make amends? And again, I do believe for most people that's coming from a good place. And then for a lot of black people in particular are thinking, oh my gosh, racism is alive and well, right? Because again, they're being told and being encouraged to see it through that specific framing. So the conversation, which should have happened, as far as I'm aware, the predominant conversation should have been about police use of force. It should have been about police training. It should be about who are you even hiring. It should have been, what are the roles and responsibilities of police officers? What should conduct be around that? That's really the conversation that needs to happen. If someone genuinely cares, like if Black Lives Matter were actually about what they claim to be, even if it were restricted to the conversations around police use of force against black citizens, the conversation would look very different. And it wouldn't even be framed around the racial conversation. It would be like, look, police officers, there have been many incidents over the years of police officers of whatever color using unnecessary and sometimes lethal force against citizens when it's not. There's times when it's necessary and people would put.
What the London Real Investment Club actually does for you, it gives you the keys to open that door to the inside deals. In the last 3 weeks, I've participated in 3 incredible deals: a layer 2 Bitcoin protocol, an incredible AI protocol. The deal flow is beyond what I expected. I don't think I've ever seen a model like this that just gives average folks the opportunity to be behind the deals, and that's exactly what we've done. Not only that, you get to hang out with Brian Rose every week. And for me, that was huge because I look at Brian as somebody who's not only an expert in the space, and I think is on the leading edge, but just the leading edge of thought with London Real and the work he's doing there. To anyone who's taking a serious look at this, I know it's a big decision. It was a big decision for me and my family, and it is one of the best decisions I've ever made. So I wish you all the best and hope you come join us.
their hands up and be like, yep, that's a justified shooting or killing. And then there's other ones where other people would look at and it's very clear cut, no, that was not justified. Lots of them are more in a gray area. But people don't, this is where the virtue signaling thing kind of bothers me, because I sometimes sense that people don't really want to solve these problems because they're having the wrong conversations. If your goal is to stop innocent people, let's say, innocent unarmed people, we don't want innocent unarmed people, regardless of their color, regardless of their background or their class, we don't want them being killed, period, let alone by agents of the state with a badge and a gun. We want to reduce police brutality. We want to reduce these types of killings and deaths. Now, that conversation is something everyone would be on board with. Conservative, libertarian, centrist, liberal, progressive. If you ask any sane person across the whole political spectrum, would you like fewer innocent unarmed civilians to die at the hands of the police? All of them will say yes, from the most hardcore, gun-toting, Second Amendment, patriot conservative to the most lefty, blue-haired liberal. They'd all say yes. They'd all say yes. Instead, you have people arguing over, is it Black Lives Matter or All Lives Matter? Oh, you're racist. You're like, yeah. Boom, we got him. We got him. We've got the useful idiots shouting about, do we say, Black Lives Matter and All Lives Matter are the same statement. It's the same statement. Black Lives Matter because all lives matter, right? White Lives Matter is also a true statement because all lives matter, right? So, and you've now got people arguing over this instead of having the conversation and holding the correct people accountable and saying, okay, what are things we can do to prevent this type of situation from happening again? Do we need to change the police hiring process? Do we perhaps need to reduce some of the protections that allow a police officer who, has bad misconduct here from, just kind of being shifted into a different county, or it's shifted to a different state? Do we maybe need to alter how we do the training, or perhaps repeat I don't know that much about police training in the USA, but my understanding is that there's quite a lot of room for improvement in the standards, both in the recruitment and in the actual training itself. And I think that if you can hire better people and if you can train them better, then you'll have fewer of those incidents. But I think there are people, sadly, who don't want fewer of those incidents because it's too politically beneficial. And I think that sucks, but that is what I see going on because it's happened so many times at this point. I can probably off my head name at least 10 of these situations where this has happened. And it's been the same playbook over and over and over again. And it doesn't improve because the goal isn't for it to improve. The goal is to get the people angry, to get people super race conscious again, and to keep them fighting each other over dumb stuff.
Yeah, it gets weaponized, it gets attention, it gets money, and you'd like to hope that cycle is not going to continue. But yeah, I ultimately concluded in mid-2020 that I'm not racist and the world is not getting more racist. And maybe it was good that I had to really think about it. But I've been in circles of people all over the world for 20, 30, 40 years. And I don't remember those incidents happening where people were judging people on the race. Yeah. And I was in some pretty high profile and high performance jobs, and it was like, can the person perform? And that seemed to be the always thing. So it was interesting to have that introspection, but then I had to come to that conclusion. And maybe it was good that people thought about it, but yeah, it was incredible to watch.
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing in crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.